Beneath the relentless scorching sun of ancient Egypt's desert, where the sun hung like a blazing red fireball suspended in the sky, the life of common people was pushed to the limits of endurance. As the crowing of roosters echoed from the dilapidated reed huts, no one dared to leave the weary sleep after a suffocating and anxious night. Because a new day in ancient Egypt was not gentle, but a harsh challenge, where every breath was filled with danger. Days passed, the Nile River, both the source of life and an obsession, still roared through the barren land. The people drew water from the river, unaware that it was also a hidden source of disease. The muddy water contained sediment, dead animal carcasses, and invisible creatures ready to invade the human body at any moment. Thirst could not wait, forcing them to scoop water hurriedly and drink regardless of the risk of infection. Harsh and unyielding, the scorching sun burned the flesh, making all outdoor activities tormenting. The farmers, gaunt from hunger and exhaustion, bowed their heads to till the fields by hand or pull crude plows in the burning atmosphere. Their calloused hands, smeared with mud, cracked and burned under the sun, were painful marks deeply engraved in their lives. Sweat poured, mixing with fine sand dust to create a thick layer of dirt on the skin. Their daily meal was nothing but a gamble. A bowl of thin porridge made from coarsely ground grains, a few beans, or some rotten radishes were all they could hope for. Food was scarce, insufficient to replenish strength for a harsh day of labor. Sometimes the groans of the sick echoed in the poor huts. Death from diseases like diarrhea, malaria, or parasitic worms always lurking. The minds of common people were always shackled by the absolute rule of the pharaoh, the living God on earth whom they dared not meet with their eyes or words. Every decision, every law bore the mark of divine power, indisputable. They believed that the survival of the entire country depended on loyalty and endless service to that king. Any resistance or challenge was severely punished, sometimes by death. Primitive medicine intertwined rudimentary knowledge and superstition. People placed absolute trust in healers who combined magic, charms with crude methods like acupuncture or herbal remedies. Religious rituals were continuously held to soothe the gods, praying for peace and healing. They believed all illnesses were caused by the anger of gods or demons, and only supernatural intervention could bring salvation. Under the shadow of giant temples and magnificent pyramids, the life of common people was a series of struggles with nature, divine power, and invisible fears. They lived with the constant obsession of sudden death, the cruelty of fate, yet still steadfastly clung to every faint hope through belief in the gods and Pharaoh. Life here was not for the faint-hearted, but a long battle between humans and the challenges of a mysterious and terrifying world. Beneath the radiant sunlight of the central Mexican valley, the city of Teotihuacan emerged like a splendid kingdom amidst the vast earth. The wide main roads stretched through bustling neighborhoods, leading to towering pyramids standing like immortal guardians. It was the power center of a mysterious civilization, once echoing with the cheers of thousands, bustling with sacred rituals and mysterious, bloody sacrifices. Teotihuacan was not only a city, but a symbol of intricate arrangement, where social classes were tightly organized hierarchically, and power was expressed through architecture and religion. Walls were decorated with feathered serpent motifs, symbols of divine power, reminding everyone of the sacred domination covering every street corner, every daily activity. In the heart of the city, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent stood out with massive structure and grand architecture, with stairs leading high to the sky, challenging anyone who dared set foot in this sacred place. Stones were meticulously stacked to create a vivid and powerful image of the feathered serpent. Bas-reliefs depicting strict sacrificial scenes and blood spilled onto the sacred ground reminded of the price of worship and power. The rituals here are not simply religious forms, but also means of social control, expressing the supremacy of the gods and the ruling class. Those chosen as sacrificial victims, whether prisoners or volunteers, carry a terrible responsibility to keep the life of the city and the gods continuing to operate. The drum beats echo, the prayers resound amid the suffocating atmosphere, mingling with screams, the sound of flesh being cut, and the stench of bloody flesh. Power in Teotihuacan was consolidated not only by force, but also through control of rituals and deep religious beliefs. Everyone lived under the watchful eyes of the gods and power representatives. No one dared to resist or challenge this arrangement. But no matter how firmly power was built, the city's fate still bears a great question mark. Its sudden collapse, leaving only ruins and unsolved mysteries. Today, when those pyramids remain only in the silence of time, the secrets of bloody rituals of a powerful society and the sudden disappearance of Teotihuacan still arouse much curiosity and searching. Did supernatural forces intervene, or did internal fragmentation and secret struggles weaken the foundation? Beneath the ancient stones, the story of Teotihuacan still awaits someone to continue telling it, in the dim darkness of history, not yet fully uncovered. Among the first echoing drumbeats of humanity, more than 30,000 years ago, those lively sounds touched human souls, becoming the first nonverbal but powerful means of communication. In dense forests or vast plains, stretched skins over rough wooden bodies were struck, producing lively rhythms signaling presence, warning of danger, or summoning the community to gather. Drums were not simply musical instruments, but the first voice connecting people, uniting the heartbeat of life. The flow of time carried those sounds across lands, weaving through different cultures. In Africa, djembe drums resounded in mystical ceremonies, opening spiritual doors to souls and gods. The drum rhythms, like lifeblood, guided dances and oral stories, bringing the village together as an inseparable community. On the vast land of Asia, drums became an indispensable part of royal rituals and deep beliefs. The drumbeats of priests echoed through ancient temples, calling gods, bestowing blessings and strength upon the people. Especially in battles, war drums not only kept the rhythm, but also boosted morale, making soldiers bravely advance despite dangers. In the Americas, ancient civilizations like Maya, Aztec, and Inca also could not do without drums in rituals and communal life. Intricately carved drums carried symbols of power and sacredness, blending with trumpets and other instruments to create magical sounds steeped in the history and legends of these lands. The West was not exempt from the influence of drums, as military drums sounded in wars, leading armies to attack or retreat. Drums became the voice of strength and unity, the pulse of an indomitable spirit. Over time, alongside social and technological development, drums evolved to integrate with modern music flow. Electronic drums and digital drum machines opened new horizons, creating rich, diverse melodies in many music genres, from pop, rock to electronic and hip-hop. Modern drums still carry the spirit of ancient ancestors, connecting past and present in every vibrant beat. Despite thousands of years of change, drums still maintain a profound role in human life, not only as musical instruments, but also as symbols of connection, power, and sacredness, the heartbeat of communities conveying stories, beliefs, and emotions beyond words. Drums have become an indispensable part of humanity's cultural journey, echoing forever in the souls of every generation. Under the harsh sunlight of ancient Egypt, people once built low houses of mud bricks, stone, and handmade bricks, materials with clear load limits, allowing architecture only to rise to a certain height. Every brick, every stone was meticulously placed, creating narrow but close-knit neighborhoods, in a lively city pulsating with labor and faith rhythms. Simple thatched roofs and thick walls acted like fortress walls, protecting inhabitants from scorching sun and sand-laden winds. Over time, humans realized that the limitations of traditional materials and techniques not only suffocated living spaces, but also restricted urban development. Each floor was a challenge. Each higher wall had to bear greater weight, leading to cracking, collapse, or height restrictions of buildings. In ancient cities like Memphis or Thebes, large-scale structures such as pyramids or temples were still magnificent exceptions, not common architecture for everyday residents. As time passed, over millennia, humans continued to seek new solutions to conquer height. They realized that to build upward, stronger new materials and techniques to distribute load more effectively were necessary. Over centuries, materials like steel and concrete gradually emerged, bringing unprecedented strength. The real breakthrough appeared in the 19th century, when construction techniques entered the industrialization era. Manhattan, the world's economic center, was still a network of low-rise red brick and wood buildings, limited by the structural techniques of the time. However, thanks to the invention of the safety elevator, movement within tall buildings became more feasible than ever, Upper floors were no longer a daunting climb, but became attractive living and working spaces. Alongside the elevator, steel framing developed as a breakthrough that changed the entire view of construction. Steel frames were lightweight but carried great loads, helping to distribute the building's weight efficiently to the foundation, allowing structures to soar without thick and heavy walls like before. Manhattan began to transform, with the first skyscrapers rising like towers of light against the sky. Talented architects and engineers creatively combined steel frame technology with safety elevator systems, turning Manhattan into a symbol of modernity and urban strength. The buildings were not only tall, but also reflected a progressive spirit, representing humanity's conquest of nature and engineering. From the humble thatched roofs of ancient Egypt to the proud skyscrapers of Manhattan, urban architecture has undergone a long journey of creativity, breakthroughs, and innovation. Each step marks humanity's tireless effort to expand living spaces, overcome physical limits, and elevate life to a new level. This is the story not only of architectural evolution, but also of humanity's unceasing desire to conquer and develop. Through the journey of conquering the sky that began with simple thatched roofs in ancient Egypt, humans continuously pushed architectural limits higher as an undeniable symbol of power and the aspiration to reach new heights. In America, within New York City, the race for height became a vivid symbol of prosperity and economic strength of a rapidly rising nation. The Woolworth Building, once called the Cathedral of Commerce, shook the early 20th century architectural world with a perfect blend of modern construction techniques and vibrant Art Deco style. With sharp lines, intricate geometric patterns, and a mix of tradition and innovation, Woolworth was not only the tallest building in the world at that time, but also a symbol of America's prosperity during a fast-developing era. Shortly after, the Chrysler Building was born as an architectural masterpiece with a shining spire, a radiant symbol of the booming automobile industry. Its unique Art Deco design featured stainless steel details, motifs inspired by car propellers and engines. The Chrysler Building transformed Manhattan's skyline into a stage for a beauty contest among skyscrapers, where each building was a declaration of society's power and progress. Higher still, the Empire State Building rises like an immortal symbol, overcoming all the challenges of the Great Depression to become an image of hope and an unyielding spirit. With its superior height and exquisite Art Deco design, it not only marks a milestone in construction engineering, but also deeply imprints in everyone's mind the image of a resilient and developing America. However, after World War II, architectural trends began to shift towards a modern minimalist style. Buildings were no longer richly ornamented statues, but became sleek, simple, focusing on function and efficiency. Structures like the Seagram Building and the towering glass and steel office buildings reflected a new world, where the global economy and technology dominated, and sustainable development was prioritized. Skyscrapers are not just architectural works, but have become global cultural and economic symbols. They are vivid proof of success, the power of corporations and nations, and modern urban development. They are lighthouses illuminating humanity's path in the 20th and 21st centuries, continuing the story of mankind's conquest of height from ancient Egypt to today. With each step, from humble thatched roofs to towering skyscrapers reaching the clouds, urban architecture vividly reflects humanity's aspiration, strength, and continuous development. A race not only of height, but of the will and vision of an entire generation. The massive stones and sturdy pyramids of ancient Egypt once testified to the power and endurance of a prosperous civilization. From there, the journey to conquer height and create symbols of power has guided humanity through eras and continents, from the dazzling skyscrapers of Manhattan to the proud landmarks associated with modern New York City. Yet on September 11, 2001, an unprecedented tragedy shook not only the hearts of the city's people, but the world. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, proud icons in Manhattan's skyline, once the center of bustling commerce and finance, suddenly became the scene of horrific destruction. When two hijacked planes crashed into the towers, fierce fires erupted, causing thousands of tons of concrete and steel to collapse with thunderous explosions. Horrified screams, breaking glass, and thick dust covered the area, turning a great symbol into rubble in an instant. This tragedy destroyed not only physical structures, but also shook the faith and spirit of millions. New York City, once proud of its brilliant skyline, suddenly felt empty and lost. The image of the towering Twin Towers, deeply engraved in memory, became a symbol of pain, but also the starting point for a new story of resilience and hope. Soon after the disaster, citizens and leaders began a difficult recovery process. Once again, Manhattan faced history's challenge. Not just a race to build height, but a race to revive, to create a new symbol of survival and renewal. One World Trade Center was built on sacred ground, carrying deep meaning of rebirth and strength, overcoming all adversity. With a modern yet refined design, One World Trade Center is not only the tallest building in the city, but also a beacon guiding a city that always rises after every fall. Reflective glass layers serve as protective shields, advanced safety construction techniques, and interspersed green spaces create an environment that is both modern and human-friendly. Surrounding buildings were also built in harmony, forming a vibrant, dynamic area with a sense of community connection. The reconstruction journey is not just a physical restoration, but a spiritual healing journey, a testament to the unyielding will and resilience of humanity. Manhattan's skyline, despite experiencing a horrific disaster, continues to rise, reminding the world of the power of unity and the ability to overcome all challenges. From the immortal pyramids of Egypt to the skyscrapers of New York, the story of architecture is not only about height and materials, but also about people, about aspiration, pain, and great rebirth throughout human history.